Hey guys, welcome back to Innovation. We are going to be looking at the XP Lite. We've had it for a couple of weeks at this point, so this is going to be more of an overview review. We might do an update here in the next little bit. There's a couple things I'm going to do. I'm going to replace the stem here, throw on some BMX handlebars. We're also going to be replacing these grips, maybe going hydraulic. I know Lectric has talked about giving away free hydraulic brakes to everybody in the world, so maybe I'll snag some of those. So just so you know, this is not going to be an in-depth review. It's going to be my experience, putting a couple miles on it. Haven't ridden it for a while. It's going to be a review. No, this is the review. A ride test at the end. So if you guys want to see what the riding experience is, you can check that out. But first off, let's talk about the aesthetics. Now, aesthetically, this kind of looks like a fun hybrid bike that we would ride as kids, right? And the only reason I'm saying that is because it doesn't have fenders. It's got this very sort of streamlined, simple design. We've got these smaller 20 by 2.6 tires here, and the whole thing's just very simple, which is good because if you were looking for a bike, especially around this price point, there's a lot of moving parts here. Now, that's just the case with all electric bikes, but with this one, we have a single speed. It folds. Everything about this bike is just kind of designed to be simple, easy to use. It's a lot more function over form, although the form does look pretty cool. If you step back and kind of look at it, kind of got this cool sloping design. And all in all, like my first impressions of the bike is that it is a very fun, agile bike. It's not going super fast. It only goes to 20 miles per hour. I know there's people that have unlocked it or added some different things to it to get more speed out of it, but stock right out of the box is going to hit 20 miles per hour with the throttle and pedal assist. So if you're looking for something that's, speeding around, this isn't it. But if you're somebody who's looking for a easy to use, affordable, folding e-bike, there's not really anything that competes with this at the price point. Now, there are some, if you guys have some good suggestions, let me know in the comments. I am, I'm not up to date on every single e-bike that's out there. Yeah, I know a lot of them. But if you guys have some cool new players in the market who are putting out some cool products, let me know. Then I'll reach out to their team and see if they'll send me a bike for free. And that's why I do what I do. So the motor in the back is 300 watts. And Lectric marketing, listed as like 700 something watts peak wattage, which is cool. But for the people who really want to judge it and spec it based on price, we look at that nominal watts, which is 300 watts. It is a 48 volt, 10.5 amp hour battery. I believe it might be 10.7, something in that range. Not incredibly big as far as capacity goes, but again, looking at the price point, it really does come across as a pretty good value for what you get. Now, if you're going to spend an extra $500-600, sure, we want to get some more range out of it. We would probably want to see some other things like hydraulic brakes, but at this price point, mechanical brakes, smaller battery, these are the things that we would expect to see, so I'm not really mad about it. Up here in the front, as I mentioned, we have mechanical brakes. So these are Zoom mechanical brakes. We got 160 millimeter rotors, and because this bike is not going over 20 miles per hour, and it is a little bit more on the light side, I'm not really upset with the mechanical brakes, which is one of the main reasons I might not switch those out. 160 millimeter rotors is pretty good. You're not supposed to touch them. I'm just, I'm just doing it for fun. It's a demonstration, not what to do with your brakes. Don't touch it. Back here in the back, again, we've got another mechanical brake here, and the light. So while we're back here, the light is pretty interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on up here in the front. We'll go through the whole display here in just a minute. I'm gonna hold down this thing right here. It says manual. I think it means light, but it's it's on. So in the back, you can see the lights on. It's pretty bright. Actually, I can't see anything because my screen was off. So it's pretty bright, especially for riding at night. During the daytime, not super visible, but it is cool. I feel like on this bike at this price point, they probably could have opted out of just including a light at all. Probably could have thrown a reflector on the back and go, hey, you get what you pay for. But the fact that we have this cool bracket with a nice mounting point where it's going to be mounted over the tire instead of doing something here where it doesn't even make any sense was really cool to see. And then if you brake on it, you don't get any activity there from either of these. So that would be another cool feature to see, but again, price point what you get, not a huge thing. But with a lot of these bikes, if you go and pull on the brake lever, it's going to show you in the back that you're braking. So that would be an excellent safety feature to see as an upgrade, but like I'd mentioned, you know, price point stuff. We do have this pretty nice saddle. It's a little bit wider, a little bit thicker than, say, just a traditional basic saddle. We got this nice white stitching on the side, and to me, it kind of adds to the aesthetic of the bike. I mean, seats are something that are super easy to swap out. You can look under here. We can replace this. We can replace just the saddle. So there are definitely a lot of options there. And with the saddle, you can also find out that minimum insertion distance here. And now you're looking at it, and that is pretty crazy. So if you're a very tall person, you could still ride this bike. But the handlebars, you're saying, well, guess what? Over here, I'm gonna do these, lift this up to the minimum insertion distance here. And voila, look at that. I don't know what the actual max that you can fit on there, but if I tried to ride this, I would look ridiculous. And I'm 5'10", so I don't know, 6'4", 6'5", could probably ride this bike pretty comfortably. Now it's pretty compact, right? Wouldn't be like the best pedaling geometry, but I think it would be fairly comfortable. And one of the other things to point out here too, I'm gonna turn this light off to conserve battery here, is that we do have plenty of cabling to get to the max distance here. With a lot of these folding bikes that have these telescoping stems, I don't know what they're thinking, but they don't give you enough cables to actually take it to its full potential. So, I mean, I've been on some bikes where I would put it to like just at the minimum insertion distance, and this is like super tight. You can't even turn it. It's catching on the front light, and then it becomes unsafe. But Lectric went ahead and gave us the right amount of cabling, I think, here, so I can turn this bike even all the way to the right, and obviously you'd never turn it that far, but that's a pretty cool safety feature to see. Or not safety, but I mean, it is safer than, you know, the other way. And yeah, that's sort of like the geometry of it. It does fold, obviously. I won't have to set the camera down, and we can do, you know, some folding. We got a basic kickstand here, nothing too fancy, but I guess the job done. It doesn't rattle or anything, which is always super annoying. Well, it's super annoying when it does rattle. This one doesn't, so it's not super annoying, which is nice to see. Now, one of the things here that I will definitely switch out is the pedals. So we do get this folding pedal here. Now, as far as folding pedals goes, these are like middle of the road, right? So there's just, you know, tons of other like cheaper plastic ones. These ones have a little bit more heft to it. Super easy to fold. Nice little, you know, locking joint here, reflectors in it. So not really a big deal for folding pedals. But if you're somebody who doesn't need that, like the lateral space when you're folding this thing up, then you'd probably be better off with getting something that's a little wider, a little bit thinner. That's my personal preference, so that's probably something I would swap out as well. The other thing that I probably would look to swap out is the battery connection here. Now this is just a hole in a frame kind of setup, so nothing super exciting about this. And one of the issues with that is, as you can tell, I've already done that. This is supposed to go into the plug right there, but I took the battery out without taking this out. And that's what happens when you do that. It jacks it up. So it looked a little bit nicer before I did that. That's not too bad. But again, this just, it just kind of sticks out. You know, it's like, hey, let's put the battery in there. Let's drill a hole. Oh crap, let's attach something here and throw it in there. So from that perspective, not necessarily like the most aesthetically pleasing aspect of the bike by any means. Now the front light, we had it on earlier. Can't really tell. Well, now it's not on. So I'm not 100% sure where it turned off. I had to adjust the bit rate. I guess my GoPro was overheating. Not sure what that's about. I think it's the first time that's happened to me. So let's pretend that was a seamless transition. I was talking about the light, but I'm not sure how much that you got, so let's go back to the light. Seamless transition here. The light here is probably not something where it's bright enough for it to be your only source of light at night. If you were going to be riding this thing at night, you probably want to look to, you know, upgrade or even just add an additional light, preferably up here on the handlebars. It's easier to see, gives you a better viewing angle as well. And then you got two lights in the front. That might be the way to go. Now, I would be remiss if I came to the skate park and didn't at least try to hit one of these jumps. Now, before you judge me, I'm not a BMX guy, okay? Whoa, that was an incredible transition to the ride test, and that is what we're doing right now. We are on the Lectric XP Lite. Let's go ahead and turn it on. Let's ride it around. Now, when you turn it on, it does turn on in pedal assist level 0. We do have this grayscale display, but for a grayscale display, it is telling us quite a bit of information. Nice, big, easy to read fonts. You get your speed. We've got our energy bar up here, which isn't a snack. It is it's your battery level. I'm not sure why it doesn't just say, you know, battery, but energy bar sounds pretty cool. We got 5 levels of pedal assist. We're in 0 right now. Speed 0, because guess what? We're not moving. And we've got 1 mile on the odometer here. I've ridden it more than that. I'm not sure why it only says 1 mile. I might have reset that at some point. But let's go ahead and do some pedaling and see how she rides. Now, we've got it in pedal assist level 0, as I mentioned 3 or 4 times already, and we're just pedaling it. Single speed, so we don't have the option to, you know, change gears, but as a single speed bike, this is pretty nice. Now, this isn't a great pedal geometry for me. I'd probably raise the seat up, probably raise the handlebars up with that as well, but I do this for you guys. Look at this view. You're not gonna get this view if I am riding it the way I'm supposed to be riding it, so here you go. But, you know, as a bike that I'm just pedaling around, not too bad, not terrible to start. It feels like 10 miles per hour is probably the good, comfortable sort of cruising speed for me here. And yeah, and the nice thing is, it's also gonna show us our speed here, even though we're not using any pedal assist, which is always a plus. Now, when I'm pedaling, there's a couple things I notice a little bit more than say when I am, you know, pedaling or throttling with pedal assist, is the foldable pedals are a little bit small. For me, as who I am, I enjoy bigger, wider, flatter pedals. You know, coming from a mountain bike background and, you know, have mountain bikes and all that sort of stuff, that's just my preferred, you know, pedal. But put on our pedal assist here, go ahead and crank on the throttle, and then I don't really notice the pedals as much. Oh, yeah, cruising. It's a little bit hot out here today. Through an ND filter, so it might not look like it's super hot, but it is. And yeah, that who is more like AC. Thank you. Now, one thing about the energy bar here is that it is predictive. So I've got my throttle down, I'm crunching it, pedal assist level 5. It's showing me I've only got 2 bars left. That's not really the case. If we let that go, just cruising, you see our energy bar. Now I'm just calling it the energy bar. The energy bar is going to go up. So even though I'm pedaling here, but we went from 2 up to 4 up to 3, and we can just cruise along like that. So in some respects, it is nice that it is predictive. So it's like, hey, you know, if you are continuing on this way, in the manner that which you are continuing on in, you know, you got 2 bars. It's like, hey, if you're going to pedal, you can pretend like you're a human being, got working legs, you know, then there you go, here's 2 extra bars. And then if we put it in a lower level pedal assist, so we go to pedal assist level 1. Let's go ahead and stop first. Even though these have mechanical brakes on it, it does stop pretty good. So just throwing that out there. So pedal assist level 1. You're not giving us too much. Pedal assist level 2. Giving us a little bit more. Probably sit about that 9-10 miles per hour. 3, gonna be a little bit more. 12, 13, 4. Went up slight incline here. Oh yeah, still doing some good work there. Better silence that. That's gonna get annoying if getting one of them tax threads, you know. And then pedal assist level 5. Gonna take us all the way up to 20 miles per hour. The other thing that you notice pretty quick about the ride feel is there's no suspension, right? And so that's one of those things that, like, you know, if you're, you know, young, robust, just looking to get something that is not super expensive, you know, maybe you're not looking at like, oh, I need suspension. But if you're somebody who wants suspension, look at those brakes. On an incline, doing good stuff. Let's go ahead and we got pedal level 5. Drop it down to the lowest gear, which is the only gear. Nice little turn here. Let's go ahead and pedal up this hill. It's a little embankment here. It's struggling a little bit towards the top, but obviously, you know, it got up there pretty easily. Pretty easily. All right, let's skedaddle. I do like having the smaller diameter wheels. Just gives it a lot more. Whoa, look at that. This is some serious kick. We got a buddy of mine, you may have heard of him, David Brand New. He's doing some cool stuff with e-bikes over there at his YouTube channel. He invented this thing called the turtleneck stem. And so one of the things with this bike, as you'll notice, you know, from the aesthetics of it, it does have what he calls a giraffe stem, right? And it's because it's long, it's tall. That's just the way it rolls. But with his adapter, you can put BMX bars on here, and you don't lose the folding capabilities, which up until, you know, he came out with that, and there's probably a couple other different things, but it wasn't really brought to my attention until he made it. It's this cool little adapter. You throw BMX bars on there, and then blammo, you still got the folding capability, because the other ones, you know, some other options out there, you put BMX bars in it. An Lectric with BMX bars looks pretty rad, but you lose that folding capability. So with that adapter, you get to keep all the folding capabilities there. And yeah, I was saying something before that. I was distracted by a bird. There's a great blue heron over there. All right, now we're kicking. So one of the other things that you'll notice with the ride feel here is that there's not much of a delay between pedaling. So I'm pedaling, getting resistance from the motor, and I stop and I pull on throttle, and I'm still going. So there's not a whole lot of delay in between the throttling and the pedaling. Let's go ahead and see just what it is with the pedal. So I'm pedaling, and then I'm gonna stop. Pretty quick. I mean, this thing rolls pretty well. So it might be hard to tell on video when the power actually kicks out, but when you're pedaling it and you stop, you can tell when it turns off. It's pretty quick, and it kicks right back in really nicely as well. And go down, what is that, a skate park? Whoa, that's crazy. You guys like my acting? Like I didn't know this is where I was going? Like I didn't know this is where we were gonna end up today? Whoa. Man, how crazy would that be if I do a transition into the ride test that I've already filmed? Whoa, that is crazy. Guys, this thing is a lot of fun. That's my professional opinion. It is a lot of fun. This isn't a bike where you're necessarily going to be, you know, commuting on it. Obviously, you could do that. They do have a rack option. It'd be easy to throw some fenders on here, so this is something you could commute on if you wanted to, but this is a bike that is just, it's easy to throw, you know, in the back of a car, RV, something like that. So if you needed some transportation where you just need to kick around in a couple different spots, I mean, that's kind of what this was designed for. A few other things that I'm sure we already talked about, wink, wink, in the review is that the grips here, they don't have locking mechanisms. And sometimes that's okay, and because we're not going that fast, not a huge deal, but these grips are a little bit loose. You know, not terribly hard to rotate either of those. And this is your contact point with the bike, right? That's how you control the bike. So it'd be super cool to see some locking mechanisms here. And as I mentioned, this is more of a, you know, first impressions. We've only had the bike, you know, a little bit, put a couple of miles on it. So that's more of what this is in line for. When we do the next review on it, there's gonna be... I told you guys it was hot out here. I guess my GoPro was overheating. I don't know if I've ever had that happen before, but let it cool off for a little bit. Obviously, I'm in a different location here, and let's talk about the folding. If you didn't catch any of the light, because I hadn't reviewed it to know what I was talking about, the light in the front, not necessarily bright enough to be your only source of light. I would recommend adding a second one, preferably be up here on the handlebars, something that's got a couple hundred more lumens than this one. But let's talk about the folding first. Let's fold it. Actually, let's not even talk about it. Let's just fold it up. Let's pull this guy down, fold him down here. Now, a couple things with the folding, like you don't get anything. I mean, I've got my rock form mount here, which is kind of the thing that's pressing against here, but if you don't have that there, it's kind of touching that spot. So it'd be cool to add something, maybe a little felt, some sort of like stick-on thing where you could get a good look at it. Let me point my GoPro down so you can see what the heck I'm looking at. And then we can scuttle around on this side, and we'll go ahead and unlock this bad boy here. Might as well fold these pedals while we're doing it. Might as well. I said let's fold these pedals. It's spinning. Oh, it's easier to do with two hands. There you go. So let's go ahead and fold it up. We're just gonna lift and tuck. Usually it's better to get that kickstand down. Let's go ahead and fold it on up. Kablamo. Sit down here on the kickstand. It's not actually on the pedals, I don't think. I think it's on the kickstand. So here's what it looks like all folded up. It's a pretty small, nice, tight package. You see over here on the front, we've got a welded frame support here. So it's just gonna sit like this. It's fairly balanced. I mean, you could throw it over if you wanted to, but if you have this thing, set up right, that's not gonna move. You are golden. Then unfolding it, super easy. Go ahead and pop that guy out. And then, kaboom. Now my joint here is a little bit tight. And I'm not upset with it because I think having a tight joint with a folding e-bike probably better than having a loose folding joint. But that's it. She's back ready for business minus the pedals there. Yeah, guys, that's going to be it for my overview review on this bad boy. Like I said, more modifications coming. We'll keep you guys updated as we soup it up. All right, talk to you later. Talk to you later. That's not my catchphrase. What's my catchphrase? Told you guys it's hot out here. Oh, that's right. We'll catch ya on the next one.